What's up, Shepherd Youth? So we've been doing a series on YouTube on our kingdom exercises, which are just ways to learn to be fully alive in God's kingdom. And one of them is relationships, which is dating relationships, but also friendship and family. And these are two of my best friends. I mean, they're really my two best friends. And we've been friends. This is Josh, this is Corey.
Yo.
Josh and I have been friends since we were 8 years old.
Yeah.
That's when he moved over from Kentucky. And his dad started working here. And then Corey and I became friends at summer camp. I knew him, but he annoyed me.
Yeah, he frustrated me as well. He was
You both annoyed me when we first met.
Yeah, Josh and I had a rough first 2 years of friendship when we were like 8 and 10.
We needed space.
Yeah, but I've known Corey since 10th grade, so like eight, 9 years. Josh and I like 10.
6 years.
It's not a
15 years?
contest, but if
Whatever.
it was, I'd win.
Yeah, Josh would win. We've been friends for a very long time, and then all three of us we started hanging out when we were like 18.
Mm-hmm.
So like 6 years of being friends, and so I guess what we're gonna talk about is kind of how we've made our friendship last so long, and we're just gonna think through it, kind of talk out loud. But because I actually don't see too many friendships last for too long. Some of it's just life, people move, but so yeah. What do you guys think? Like, what made our friendship last so long and overcome certain things?
Josh.
I mean, first of all, like any relationship, like you said, dating or friendship, the first step is like getting a good friend. So
Yeah.
I think you have to have some quality of discernment to be able to like pick out a person that is actually a good person to have a friend, because you can have some friends that like bring you down just like you could in like a romantic relationship. But assuming that you found somebody that you are really good friends with, to keep it going, like I've had a lot of friends. I've had people that I've considered friends or that I enjoyed hanging out with. But probably the biggest factor between like for you guys specifically is that we've brought up the fact that we're friends.
Yeah.
We've been intentional about it. You and I were friends for like 4 or 5 years for a long time, but I had friends that I had longer friendships with, but there were so many times where you and I were like, dude, you're my best friend. Or like you would come out, or like we all took road trips, like you said, when we were 18 years old, it was when we all got really close. But on that road,
Texas,
yeah, we were on a Texas road.
In this old minivan. It
Yeah,
made it though.
but on that road trip, we were like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
We are really good friends. This is so much fun. And since then, we've always been vocal about like, dude, you're my friend. And I've had friends that were great, but I never brought it up. So when they left, it just kind of faded away. But with you guys, I've always been like, hey, you're my friend.
Yeah.
Like, you're my brother. I enjoy being around you.
Yeah.
And that's been the easiest thing to keep it going, because you've said it, I've said it. So I always know that you guys are my friends.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of that. But I remember they're both my brothers. I've told both of them that. But Josh and I have this specific moment.
Yeah.
We were in a Popeyes
Of all places.
and it was late high school, so we'd been friends for a while. Well, we had a little like friendship breakup when we were like 10. It was stupid. It was
Yeah.
about Hurricane Harbor, and he was like, "I want to go," and I was like, "You annoy me, so you don't get to, whatever." But then we became friends in like middle school, 11, and we were best friends till late high school. And we were at Popeyes, and I was like, "Dude, you're not even my friend anymore. You're my brother."
And I was just thinking the same thing too, because
Yeah.
you said that. I was like, dude, I was thinking that last week. I was like, Caleb's not even my friend, he's my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you're dating and then you get married. Like it's just like one thing is like one level.
I don't know about that.
But I was like, a whole
We're
nother
basically.
level.
As someone who got married, did you agree to that statement?
I mean, I will say
We're
that
not that close.
a lot of elements of a good friendship have so far been helpful in marriage. And like Corey and I were roommates, and that's been helpful. And because I had to learn how to live, in the same room as someone, and they were messy or I was messy, and you're telling each other, hey, clean up. But I kind of want to go back to the first thing Josh said about discernment, because that was really important. It kind of goes off of what I was thinking. My word was loyalty, but he's so right, because there's no reason to be loyal to someone who's just always taking advantage of you. And that goes for friendships, relationships, everything. And there's also room for grace. I mean, we've annoyed each other so much and so many times, but
Yesterday.
Very annoying.
but we are all like, or I'll speak for them. I'm a good guy. I'm not gonna say that, but they're both really good guys, and so
You're all right.
and even in their annoying moments or when we annoy each other, like there's never a time where I think I'm not gonna be friends with them. I'm not gonna hang out with them next time. Like always in my mind, I'm gonna be loyal to these guys. Like we've been friends for so long, and even in just a couple years of friendship, it's like you're my best friend, really, no matter what you do. And like I said, there's a balance there because you don't just want people to totally take advantage of you. But if you've discerned well, like they might still really hurt your feelings, but loyalty, I would say, has just made us keep going through anything and through many, many years. So I'd just say, discernment. And then if you discern well, being loyal, that was kind of what I thought made our friendship
And you
last.
said that like there are times where we've annoyed each other, and like it happens pretty often, but we're all very brutally honest with each other. There's
That's
been times
true.
where like you, especially you, have like either of us have like gone on long-winded rants or been like doing something, and the other person's like, "Dude, shut up! Like, what are you doing?" Or like, "That is so annoying. Can you please stop doing that?" And then it's a way to test the waters because either the other person will go like, "I don't know, he's not doing that bad," which makes you go like, "Oh, I'm being a jerk," or the other person goes, "Yeah, you are kind of being annoying."
Yeah.
But it's this perfect level of accountability where it's like, if either of us are doing something stupid, we'll let the other person know. But because, like I said earlier, we've established and been intentional that we're friends, we know it's in good faith, I guess is the way to put it.
Let's see. I mean, I second everything that they said. I think it's great stuff. For me, like, in addition to that, like, I think two things that are really important when I was thinking about it would be, the first one would be like, if you want to have a good friendship, be a good friend, I guess. And I mean, it, like, I'm just using the word to like explain itself, but if you want to have a good friendship with someone, you need to learn how to be a good friend to them. So it's like not being self-centered, but asking, how can I serve them well? What do they want to do? What are their hobbies? How can I kind of hitch my life alongside theirs? And then when you're looking for a good friend, when they're talking about discernment, finding somebody who is a good friend to you as well. And that's something I think all three of us have done really well.
Yeah, expand on that because we haven't even also brought up the fact of being a good friend really helps with just being a friend.
But it's like, if you want to have a good relationship, you can really only be responsible for yourself. And so you have to make sure that you're being a good friend to the people around you. And when we're talking about long-lasting friendships, I think one of the things you look for is somebody who is a good friend to you as well. And again, it's like a weird kind of paradox because on one hand, you're not trying to be self-centered by like being a good friend to other people, kind of serving other people really well. But at the same time, like you said, Caleb, you don't just want to let yourself get walked all over by somebody who doesn't care about you at all, you know, and then just pretend that you have a good friendship, maybe because whatever, I did that a lot. I was lonely, and so I was like, anybody, I'll figure it out. But these guys really gave me back good friendship, which actually showed me like, oh, this is what a beautiful friendship looks like. And then when you start that, it's really easy to keep it going. Not easy, I says.
Well, all relationships are investments. So but it's basically, do you want to look back and go, is this worth still investing in?
Yeah. And then the second thing that I think has been really helpful that I've noticed, and I would speak for all three of us, would just be having good expectations. So like, we roomed together, but then there was about a year and a half-ish where he moved back to LA and I was still in Missouri. During that time, we weren't like talking all the time because we lived in totally different places.
Yeah.
But we were never like, Caleb, you're such a trashy friend. Why don't you call me every week?
Yeah.
You know, that expectation was, okay, Caleb is a grown man. He's going to go live his life. And I need to let him do that, just like I need to be where I'm at. And I would say that's, you guys are kind of young right now, but as you get older, that's a really important skill to develop. As you have long-term friendships, you're not going to be in the same school. You might not be in the same church. You might not always occupy the same space. And so having healthy expectations and allowing people to pursue the things that they want without forcing them to be what you want them to be for you all the time is really important. I know that you guys spend a long portion of time apart at
Come on,
so
bro.
professional,
Jeez,
man.
we're gonna have to cut this whole thing now.
but they spent a long time, and it was good for me when I was first becoming friends with Caleb because he talked about his friendship with Josh.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he loved is that even though there were times where they lived in different states, whenever they did have the opportunity to come back together, they just hopped right back in. There wasn't blame, there wasn't things like that. And the same thing with me and Caleb, we lived apart. And when we had chances to come back together, it wasn't, why haven't you been, more intentional with our relationship? It was an understanding that they were in different places.
Yeah.
And that's just an example of expectation. But I would just say have healthy expectations. Realize that they don't exist to serve you and to fill something up in you. God fills you up. And so you have to have healthy expectations in your relationships and in your friendships.
Yeah, I moved to Ohio and then for a couple of years, and I don't call people or keep in touch ever. And so, but you and I, I left. None of us do. I left to Ohio. You and I were still best friends, but we didn't talk.
Yeah.
And then you just flew out to come hang out with me and my family. And then you came over and I was like, "What's up?" You're like, "Hey, dude." I was like, "Do you want to go fish at the dam?" You're like, "That sounds cool." And then we just left.
You can't say damn, this is a...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It was a
Large body of
it
water.
holds water back.
Yeah. It was a dang.
DAM, right?
It was a
I can't
dang.
remember.
We went fishing at the dang. Yeah.
at the large cement wall.
Yeah.
But that's I don't know if that's just us because we're weird.
Yeah.
That's
but
true.
that's I will say
That's
that
what
it
I'm
was
saying,
it was
expectations.
it was helpful for all of us because we literally never talked. But there was also never a time where I was worried like, oh, it's gonna be like Josh said, we never talked. We didn't text either. Just like every now and then if something was funny and but I just flew out and hung out with his family. And I wasn't like, I wonder if it's gonna be weird or if this no, I just went out there. Corey, when he graduated, we hadn't seen him for like a year.
At least.
He even went to like Japan over the summer or China
That's
somewhere.
right. Yeah,
So
you
we
went
didn't-
AWOL for a while.
we didn't see this dude for a year, but then we were like, "Hey, can we come to your graduation and drive back with you?" And then we did, and it was awesome. So,
And so, and I mean, and it's cool to think of those expectations. Like when we were going to be living apart, I mean, we had a very like not a serious conversation. It was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to talk to you all the time, but go and be like you where you're at. Go serve God where you're at. I love you. I'll be praying for you.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to have our, personality or our expectations, but you have to figure out together with your friends what the expectations are, and you have to live up to them. I know so many of my friends that have fallen apart over the years because they've had mismatched expectations, and it's led to fighting, it's led to strife.
Do we just have low expectations?
Oh,
We might just not have any. It might just maybe none.
We have zero expectations at all. Yeah.
But it's good, and a lot of that has to do with grace too.
Yeah.
There's nothing between the three of us that's ever gone unforgiven.
Yes.
And so all of that to me just kind of rolls up together, and everything you guys were saying. But yeah, should we recap? What did you guys say?
Well, I want to add one more thing.
Me too, but
which
I'll make
is-
it real quick.
I'll make it quick. It's kind of friendship and dating. It's what Corey said. He's just said like, be a good friend if you want to have good friends. It reminds me of something that Dusty says about dating. He says, be the kind of person that the person you would want to date would want to date. It's kind of confusing, but be the kind of person that the person you would want to date would want to date. And it's like, a lot of people have these like, oh, I want to be friends with that person or date that person, and they just go try to do it. But like, you're not the person that's capable of that yet. So become that kind of person. And I think that kind of goes along with like, if you want to be friends with someone, will be the kind of person that person would want to be friends with. I like that point.
And a lot of that really boils down to good character. It doesn't mean you have to change your hobbies. It doesn't mean you have to like change your favorite color.
That's true. That's a good note. Yeah.
You have to. It's really maturity.
Yeah.
And
Not like change. That's a really not like changing because what I said could sound like that.
Yeah.
But it's not changing everything. And I mean, it's you're open to do things with people. But Corey's right. It's more like getting on the same maturity level and the same level or near the level of knowing God and being good in your relationship with God. But,
Yeah. My other thing was just, and this goes, the older that you get, just hang out. I mean, we just talked about how we moved for years and never hung out, which is fine, but there's been some times where I'm like, oh, I bet they're doing something, or I'm like, I don't want to be weird. But then I've been like, hey, do you guys want to hang out? And they're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like half the time people are bored and wanting to do something. And it's always like the more time you spend with any of your friends, the better it is. So don't be afraid to be like, hey, I'm bored. Are you bored too? There's a 90%
Oh my
chance
gosh.
that somebody's going to go, I'm bored to tears.
that is such a great point.
Yeah.
I spent so much of my young life crying by myself and alone because like, why doesn't anybody ever text me? Why doesn't everybody ask me to hang out?
But you're so bad at
And-
texting. Yeah.
Right. And it turns out that most people in the world are also alone crying. Why doesn't anybody text me? And when I finally realized that, I said, okay, well, forget doing that. I'm just going to reach out whenever. Me and Caleb, our friendship started because I texted him all the time.
Yeah,
I was like,
you
you want to
still
play
do.
chess? I still do.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that, but luckily they're both good at that.
Yeah.
But I would be lonely if I didn't have them.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
I would be at home like, why doesn't people? But they. Yeah.
And so learn that lesson. Don't believe the lie in your head, which one that I've told myself often is since they haven't reached out to me, they must not like me very much or as much as I care about them. Don't believe that. A lot of times people are just living their lives. They don't remember, they forget about things. Be the first person to reach out to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's gonna change your life, I promise.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, let's try to recap because that was really good.
That was a lot,
We
yeah.
kind of just came in here and we're like, hey, think a couple things, but that
You could just
I-
tell them to watch the video 2 or 3 times.
honestly, that was really good stuff.
Yeah.
But so Josh started with
Be intentional and have good
discernment,
discernment to
yeah.
find somebody, you know.
which easier terms is being intentional, looking for good character in your friends. And then I said loyalty, just stick around even when they annoy you, even when pretty bad things happen, like people mess up, just have grace, stick around. Corey talked about just being a good friend.
If you want a friend,
Yeah.
be a friend.
And then
Be a good investment.
And then I talked about just having healthy expectations.
yeah. And then your note, the last note was
Hang
also
out.
hang out and then just reach out to people.
It seems simple, but it really is. Like, it's
Yeah.
true, yeah.
Yeah, but
It's not that complicated.
honestly, those are some good notes. So I hope you guys take some of our advice and
You should.
make your friendships last.
Yeah.
But-
Call me if you need a friend.
yeah.
Don't call me.
All right, I love you all. I'll see you at our get together this weekend, or maybe this will be posted once we already meet. Well, then it was great to see you. I love you all. Bye, guys.
Deuces.